please say yes. And of course, say hello. Let me know where you're tuning in from. I would love to tap into this field together. Hello, Janelle. Welcome. Let me give this a moment so that when we start, we can go straight in and there will not be any interruptions. It's been a while for me, actually. I haven't been here for a hot moment, I would say a couple of months. So just coming back in here at the start of this powerful year. Oh my goodness, I'm gonna dive into that in a bit, but holy yes, all the things for February, early February, but we are already feeling the energy, aren't we? I mean, let me know how you're feeling, what brought you here today, all the good things so that we can tap into the field. And the more you share, the more powerful this session will be because all of us are here, heart to heart, in this space, not holding anything back, which is the most important thing for any circles, any beautiful sharing experience to be at its most potent. So I just want to put it out there and make sure we are calling in the souls who are ready to share heart to heart. All right. Okay, so welcome to my tea space. This is my little tea room. I just wanted to get out of the way to show you a little bit of the tea space that I usually serve my tea ceremonies in. For the ones who are tuning in for the first time and you had no idea who I am, welcome. My name is Li Ying and I am a Cha Dao, or in English, the Way of Tea, ceremonial keeper. I work with tea as a beautiful adaptogenic plant medicine, meaning it is something that you get to infuse into your daily life as a way of living. And more than a plant, it is actually, like I said, a way of living as the sacred in the most sacred way so that you literally can really live to your fullest because you see the extraordinary in the quote unquote ordinary. And you really, really could, the way forward for all of us, I would say, which is something I'm going to tap into today as well, is to live in our most authentic vibration. It isn't about high vibration, high vibe all the time. It's about what is authentic for you. And the most important thing for all of us is to realize that whatever challenges we're going through and whatever dreams or desires that we are seeding today or that we are building or we are, let's just put it in a natural way, right? Like where we put the seed down and we need to have full faith and also do the work to make sure that the seed actually grows. We want to be able to be so attuned to what the seed needs and not hide from it or suppress it. Or oftentimes, what we do is we plant the seed and we dig it back up again to look at it because we're worried that it doesn't go as fast as we want it to, or that we have all these mind-made anxieties of like, oh, did I plant it in the right soil? Did I make the right decision? All of that, right? Like if that's something that you experience, let me know in the comments. Welcome, welcome, welcome to everyone who's just joining. So I wanted to come in here to share a little bit about my journey, and also with the power of storytelling, I my intention is for you to pick up the frequency from my words and my story and to actually see that reflected in your life. And my hope is that it can really help you to move through perhaps a part of your life where you are really being called to lead or rise. And so I just want to share that. Welcome, Jason. Hello. The first thing I want to say is that let's all be heart to heart here. So there are no judgment for wherever you are and whatever you're feeling today. One of the biggest things that I always share about my spaces is that I hold you with full reverence. And that means that we all come away from what I call the world of dust, and we come into this tea space and we sit in this beautiful circle together, this crescent moon that we sit in, rather, because I will be serving and then you'll be in this crescent moon. And I just want you to really visualize that as you sit with all the beautiful, beautiful people who are here. Hello, Mel, UK. I'm in Edinburgh. Where are you? Oh my goodness. I love that everyone's tuning in from all around the world. So yeah, so I wanted to just say that, here we speak from the heart. And sometimes I will drop into silence, because if silence is what is needed, then that is absolutely what we will honor. There is a lot of power in silence. And that is one of the core things that comes through a tea ceremony, where we sit with tea in reverent silence, because as we drop into the silence, the depth of the silence actually allows your soul to rise. So this is a place where, like I said, we are not here to high vibe all the time, but rather my intention and my hope is that you get to drop into your most authentic vibration today. So what that means is that some of us are so ready to rise, and let that be the full truth, and let that be something you get to say, yeah, I am so ready to do that, and I'm going to put 2 feet on the ground and I'm going. For some others, it will be, I am ready to rest. I want to honor the winter season for the ones who are in winter. And for the ones who are in the southern hemisphere, even if you're feeling the frequency of rest and reflect and retreat, we want to honor that as well. And so this is the path that we take all the time. We call it the middle path, right? From Buddhism, from Zen Buddhism, Chan Buddhism, is that we want to be able to walk in a way where we do not seek to prefer what is, because what is all that is. And when we can embrace all that is, we're embracing our most authentic self. And all that is can be oneness. All that is can be known as the void, God consciousness, the divine source, Tao. That's commonly the word that I use a lot in my spaces, in my mentorships, because what it really is a place where you can really drop into what we call the 0 point, the center, the still point, where you can allow what needs to arise to arise. And so whether, like Mel is saying, yes, I'm in a pause, or you are ready to lead, or you're ready to rise, or you're ready to freaking go, let's all honor this in each other. Okay, because I often see this a lot in social media, where some people would say, like, yeah, this is the season to rest, so everyone should rest, but for some other people it's not, right? And we want to be able to sit in full respect, shoulder to shoulder, because this is where leadership is going. This is what authentic leadership is going to be. We are walking side by side, not victimizing anyone. And likewise, we do not play the victim. So in many ways, I'm going to speak in a way that may activate you, and that's all good. You may walk away today feeling like, oh my God, I never, like, she makes me so mad. That's cool. Or you may walk away with some gems today from this talk. That's amazing as well. Either way, I honor you for being here, for staying on, because ultimately, like one of my Buddhist teachers say, he often says, like, 1,000 to 2,000 people will sign up, but there will only ever be that one or two people who will stay, who are going to be in devotion. And this is a powerful thing to really contemplate, because even the great Buddha himself said, um, what two mistakes that people make often is not starting and not staying and going all the way. Yeah. So I'm just gonna pause here with that for you to feel into that. What are the things that you really want to do or you want to be in your life that you're not authentically doing or being yet? Right? Let's reflect on that for a moment here. And if you want to share, you're very welcome to do so. If you don't feel comfortable sharing, that's all good. Just journal, or maybe you want to share that with me, you can message me after. But whatever it is, really participate in this, because this is part of the alchemy. This is part of the alchemical work. I can't do the work for you. You've got to face what's inside. You've got to face your truth. And when I say truth, that could mean some really gnarly things right now. And the way we see it is, yeah, it is gnarly now because in our minds, we're perceiving it as a bad thing. But where I want to take you is to a place where I call the middle path. Because in the Tao, in the universe, source, everything exists. They coexist at the same time. Okay, so we want to get to a point where we're able to play in that field, because that is what you know of as the quantum field. Many of you probably have heard of this. Oh, I want the quantum leap. I want to collapse time. I want success to come to me at like this speed of light. And some people can manifest it so easily. Why can't I do that? Why some people can heal easily and I need to take years to heal? Well, the simplest way, without really diagnosing this with you one-to-one, the simplest way I can say it is that we all came here to Earth. We all chose to come here to Earth with a specific string of events that we picked so that it can amplify the truth of who we are. And that truth is a full spectrum. So when we are able to come closer and closer to the truth, it means that we are able to accept and embrace this full spectrum. Not saying this is bad, so I'm going to hide it and chuck it away, but rather saying, this is who I am. Yes. And I get to decide now to claim my fullest and highest timeline as a leader of my own life and others, because I have a medicine, I have a gift, I have a light, I am here to shine. But first and foremost, you have to come back in here, right? So let's talk about authentic self and authenticity. So for the ones who are joining me for the first time, my story, I'm gonna go into it a little bit so that you know where I'm coming from. I am a tea ceremonial keeper. So what that means is that I carry a lineage where I serve tea in a specific ceremonial way. It is a blend of Chan Buddhism and tea, the way of tea in Japanese itself. There are elements of that plays into it, but ultimately it is a Chinese lineage that I carry. Okay, so I work with Chinese tea most of the time. Aside from all those technicalities, what really brought me to this place of authenticity, where I really uphold a very specific frequency standard. And I speak a lot in energy terms because I want to bring us back into a place where we are coming back to who we really are. We are sitting here, all of us, tuning into this place as this physical matter that you see. You see me sitting here, but what you don't really see is also me, the unseen me, the soul, the spirit. the one who is known as the energy, right? And what we all are is that we are literally this jewel of the infinite. So you reflect me and I reflect you, and we're all the collective consciousness. And ultimately what we are is we are an expression of the omnipresence, God, source, the universe, whatever you want to call it. Okay? So when you feel into that, just take a moment to feel into how infinite you really are, and allow yourself to sink into that frequency in this moment here, just right now with me. Because I want you to tap back into what is beyond the physical that you are right now, the things that you need to do, the things that are on your to-do list, and maybe you're running around right now as you listen to me and you're driving, whatever it is, all the things that you're doing. I want you to know that they are so important. They are absolutely as important as you remembering that you are made of energy, that you are the original energy medicine that you've been seeking for, and you are the love that you've been asking for. You are the abundance that you've been asking for. You are the everything that you've been looking for, because you are the ultimate one who creates your reality. And you might be thinking, well, I'm sitting in a reality that I really don't want to right now. So do you mean I created that? If you could claim full responsibility for that, there's a lot of power in that. And what I'm saying here is not to say, oh, this is, well, that person hurt me, or this person did that to me, and that means I created that. Let's calm the ego down a little bit there if that's happening. What I'm saying here is that you have every one of you have that power to create. Okay, you get to create, and that moment is literally in the next moment. The moment of the creation you desire to create is in the next moment. And so as you sit here, and if you're feeling, I need to get out of this, I don't like where I'm at, I don't like it, then you get to say, now I decide where I want to go. I decide what reality I'm going to create, and I get to create that now, because every moment is a ripple effect. It's like it's a distillation from that previous moment, the previous energetic match. Let's just put it that way. The frequency you held waters down to this moment, and then in this moment how you're feeling is going to water down to the next moment. And so you gotta give yourself a little space, and actually what I would say, lots of spaciousness, to tap back into that center in you, the point of stillness. Because it is in the stillness, when we return to stillness, we return to source. So that was exactly what happened to me, by the way. I really speak from experience. Everything I share, you may not agree with, but what I'm going to say is I share from my own experience. I was living in Hong Kong, and outwardly, it looked like the dream life. It looked like I had everything. It looked like I manifested exactly all that I wanted. And yet I felt something missing in me. I felt like there's something out there, but I didn't know what it was. And this was a point in my life where I was freshly recovered, I would say, from 10 years of eating disorders, mainly anorexia. And I was coming to a place where, okay, I healed my body. Now I feel like there's more to tap into. And I was a practitioner of yoga, and I started to feel spirit moving through me. And then I got into meditation, and I got into astral traveling and all of that. And I would remember saying, this is incredible what I can do in this space when I'm on my own, but I can't seem to bring this back out into the world where I'm working, the office, the streets, the everywhere. Like I still feel like I'm at the whims and woes of the chaos. what is it that I'm missing? Like, I remember feeling that. And I got on my knees one night after meditation, and I remember praying to the universe, whoever that's out there listening at the time. I remember thinking, um, like, please show me the way. I know there's something more out there, but I don't know what it is. Can you please show me the way? And I remember just kind of putting that out there, and that was it. I completely forgot about it until whatever that was going to happen happened. And what happened was that I received an invitation because I worked in media. I was an editor, I was a senior digital media manager at a really powerful media corporation. I received an invitation to go to a tea ceremony. And I remember thinking, well, I love tea, why not? But at that point, I have actually never really been to a ceremony apart from a Japanese tea ceremony when I was in Japan. And I could hardly even remember it, to be honest. So when I got into that space, the first thing was I was struck by this holiness in the space, because I walked into this reverent silence that you perhaps have experienced and encountered in really beautiful cathedrals, temples, you know. And coming into that space, I remember, whoa, I was like, oh wow, what is this feeling? It feels like I've come home, and that home is within me. It's not in this space, it's within. And then I sat down, and I remember picking up the bowl that they served to me. And the first thing that brought to my mind was a very powerful vision. It was a powerful vision of my grandmother sitting next to the cauldron, really paying attention, full attention to the cauldron, making sure that the herbal soup in the cauldron is perfect. Like the timing that she turns down the fire is perfect. Like it has to be that perfect time. And then when I drank the tea, there was a voice that came through, and it was a really beautiful moment because I heard I heard tea spirit speak to me. And she said, you have to drop everything you know and go and serve tea. And in that moment, I felt like I have really come home. And bear in mind, I was a woman at that time who never knew what home was. I traveled a lot on my job as an editor. I was always living out of a suitcase. I always felt like I never really belonged in the country that I was born into, which is Malaysia. And I always sought to escape. I always felt like my life was somewhere else. And that's why, I was living in Hong Kong, which was one of the dream cities I wanted to live in. And I never felt at home. And I really remember thinking when I was much younger, like I may never feel at home anywhere in the world because I can't call anywhere home. And yet there I was sitting there remembering the feeling of home, and that home I get to carry with me wherever I go. And so that was the moment and the catalyst for my transformation in a way, because swiftly after I couldn't stop thinking about the whole thing. I had my doubts. Let's be real, right? I was an editor, I was a writer. I never thought I would do this, like serve people in ceremony. Like, really? What? A mentor, a guide? What is this? But I couldn't stop thinking about it. And every time I come into the space, every time I drink tea in that way, in that ceremony, the ritual, the rites, something just activates in me. And it was like, oh my God, like it was like a kiss from God, like literally. And so I apprenticed myself. I worked in that space for a while, sitting with my tea sisters, and eventually the teacher came as well. This is the most divine thing, right? Like when everything is aligned, when you follow the path without questioning it, even the teacher will come to you. Because I thought I was going to have to fly to Taiwan to apprentice myself for a couple of months, but he ended up coming to Hong Kong. And this is the thing, like sometimes you just can't explain it. Like it just happens, and it happens very quickly. And then after that, I took a huge leap. I left my job, and at the same time, my now husband, then boyfriend, asked me, "Would you like to move to Edinburgh?" Which is where I'm at right now. And I knew, yes, it was a full yes, not only because I knew that that was the leap I had to take in service to tea, but also because I was on the lands here in Scotland and I distinctly heard her speak to me and say that there's work here you have to do. And it was like a full yes from the goddess, you know. And so I came here in 2020. And after that, as all of us know, you know, the world came into a huge transformation herself. I took my tea ceremonies online and it started to become a mentorship space that women came in and started to say, well, I don't know what it is. I sit with you across the screen, but I feel like my life, I can feel tea moving through me. I can see my grandmother who passed. I can feel my mother in me. I could, all the things. And I knew that there was something special in this. And so it's become my purpose and my devotion to share this specifically with multidimensional women. I know there are some men here like Jason, but I just want to share that in full disclosure that I mostly work with women, and men usually come in for a bespoke tea ceremony experience that is absolutely open, of course, and couples as well together. But mentorship wise, I work with multidimensional women who are already awakened and desire to tap deeper into their gifts and stand unwaveringly in their medicine, in their knowing that they are here to lead, because we all need each other. We are here to lead. Our light is so powerful, and to understand our light is to understand the darkness. To understand freedom is to understand the structure. And that's where tea ceremony comes in so beautifully, because the ceremony obviously has a rite of rituals. But as you see from the outside, it may seem like, ooh, there's a lot of rules, or it needs to be this way or that way. But literally, it is, you find formlessness in the form, and you find freedom in the structure. As with everything, right? Whether you are a ballet dancer or a basketball player, there is always a specific structure that has been designed and has lived on for centuries for a reason. They all knew what was going on, these masters, these sages, and they left these imprints for us to carry on and modernize, right? It is not a tradition until it is relevant to the modern times that we live in. This is what my master always says. It has to be relevant in the sense that you feel it, right? It's not something you just do because somebody told you you have to do it and you don't know what it is about. You don't understand why. And that is why the mystery school teachings come in. And this is why the divine feminine teachings have to come in. They have to come back in so that the sacred masculine and divine feminine can come into sacred union. In the ceremony, I always say, you know, this is the sacred union of the masculine and the feminine, because Tea herself is so feminine, so gentle. She's the guardian, she's the guiding light. And then there is the masculine aspect with it, which is the rites of rituals, the kettle that carries the water, the fire that teaches, who is the teacher of tea. It literally has to make sure that the fire is perfect boil, perfect water. And we have the things that the teapot, the masculine structure that carries the feminine fluidity, right? So when we have these things in place, the non-verbal transmission can happen, and spiritual awakening and deepening can happen. Because, and by the way, this is a tradition that Zen monks and Chan monks have done for centuries. There are no need to speak, but the transmission is clear, because we allow this to hold a space for us, the silence. Yeah. And so I wanted to share that because my authentic self has never been this powerful ever. As I speak to you right now, I can tell you that there is no compromising my authentic self. And there may be times where my heart softens and it's been taken advantage of before, yes, but I will never compromise my frequency of love. I will never say I'm closing my heart off and I'm never going to trust. I'm never going to say I'm going to close my heart off and I'm never going to love again, because I am a sovereign being and you are too. So if you ever have moments or you have considered or you are closed off in some ways, simply know that yes, there are ways to open that up again. And this is oftentimes the magic of tea ceremony, actually, to really open the heart, because the tea itself, the leaf, is what we call a Shen tonic. So some of you may know Chinese medicine, the 5 elements theory of Chinese medicine is that we have a Shen, which is spirit, we have Qi, which is energy, life force, and we have Jing, which is your vitality. And the vitality is literally what you are, they call it pre-heaven and post-heaven, right? But with Shen, it literally is your spirit. And when we call tea a Shen tonic, it means that it revives the spirit again. This comes from the ancient belief that every one of us, we awakened through the heart. So the moment we take our first breath was the moment our heart started to beat, right? All of us came to life with the first beat of the heart. And that was the moment when the North Star dropped in through our crown, which is also known as the 100 meeting point, right into the heart. And it became this pink, glowing effervescence. That's where love started this whole physical being into life. Yeah. So when we call tea a Shen tonic, it really means that we are coming back to our true essence, which is this first heartbeat, everyone. Can you imagine this? Like, we all have been, with old conditionings and experiences and past experiences, we have been building this fort around us, and we have this whole castle built up, and the guardedness and the protectiveness and looking to protect and make sure we're not hurt and all the things, right? What if we could live in our authentic self, which is love? Because that is who you are. That is truly who you are. And you can't be authentic if you are hiding, guarding your heart. That's just the truth. And I want you to know this deeply, because I've been hurt. I've been manipulated. Guys, like, seriously, over the course of last month, I had to do a lot of cleanup in my life. I had to really look at the relationships I had in my life. I had to really look at where my business was going, partnerships, and to know that because I didn't claim my power, because I didn't believe in myself, I had allowed myself to be manipulated because I put someone or something on a pedestal. And that gets to end right now. And I made that promise to myself. And that's why I wanted to come on here to share this story, because the first thing we have to really look at is, how are we compromising our standards? How are we compromising our spaciousness? Because if you are, this is the thing, and I'm going to be really real with you. As a mentor, when a woman comes to work with me, I get really real with them. I have a lot of love, and I can instantly see your potential. However, there are things we have to clear out. Because when we come into all of us through experiences, through our past, we have learned to instantly respond with either 3 of these or maybe more, but I would say mainly 3, which is to fight, to avoid or flight, or to freeze or numb, suppress, hide it away, don't talk about it, let's just soldier on, right? And this is the reason why some people can manifest or heal faster than others. Your response in terms of your nervous system, your neural pathways. It is an entire package. We can work from the spirit, which is the fastest way to get through this, because we're now looking at energy instead of trying to make it all logical and linear. It is linear for a reason. It means that everything has to go by one step at a time. But when it's energy, it's non-linear. That means we go straight in and we can go into the field. It gets to be cleared. But the first step is to actually want to start, right? Like I said, the Buddha quote, you have to want it, you have to start, and you have to stay the course. Not giving up the minute you don't see it in your life, not giving up the minute you don't see the evidence that it's working. It gets to work very fast, but you've got to fully believe it, right? So when I decided that I will stay in my authentic truth, whether it is with my business, which is interesting because I have been a proponent of stillness for a long time, for many, many years. And being in the online mentorship coaching space, I can see the winds are turning towards stillness right now. But I was already speaking about it many months ago. And I'm going to be very transparent with you. There were 0 signups when I launched what I call the Quiet Revolution. Nobody signed up. I even had mentors who told me, like, I don't know if it's like people don't really jive with quietness, like people are afraid of stillness, right? But I've continued to believe in it. And of course, there were moments when I was doubting it. That's why I was going to a response, right? That I was familiar with. And so it delayed my harvest time because I was looking at the seed and I was worrying that I planted in the right soil, all the things. So for me right now, my frequency standard is I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it wholeheartedly. This means there's 0 doubt. I'm standing in there because I love it. I find joy in it. I find peace and bliss. And I love, love, love it wholeheartedly. This should always be the standard for everything you do, as a leader especially. Don't do it just because someone else is doing it. Don't say it because someone else is saying it. Heck, not even what I'm saying. Say what you want to say. Do what you want to do. Because that is your becoming. And I see it all. I see it all the way that we stand in the spiral. And this is where mastery really comes in. I remember, so I was actually in the Shaolin Temple in December. And it was another beautiful unfolding for me. It was really powerful being with the monks, being in retreat, doing Qigong. Oh, thank you, Michelle. And I want to share this with you all. I was able to really see through some really powerful things. And when I came home and I sat with tea, I literally dropped into this 0 point that was deeper than deep. I thought I went deep, but I could literally go even deeper because I was able to clear out the responses that I was speaking about: fight, flight, freeze. So when I went to the deep, deep depth, I resurfaced, realizing that, oh, this is how it feels like to no longer fear death, to no longer fear failure. Wow. And all those times, I was just literally sitting right here. Isn't that so ordinary and yet so extraordinary? Because that is what it is like. And lots of people are often seeking for the next high, the next experience, the next boom, explosion. You get to have that. And also, most of the biggest awakening, they're pretty ordinary. And it's like, I get it now, right? And I wanted to share, when I was in the Shaolin temples, what really came to me was that I thought I knew, but actually I didn't know at all. And so if you have anything that you feel like, I know all of that, I'm not going to change anymore because it's too much trouble and I know this is better than these are bad, take a moment, because something powerful can really come through when you are really able to see that, so I prefer this and they prefer that. Okay, cool. You do you, because I know there is a reason why you chose to do that. And I choose to do this because that is me. That's my truth. And the more you practice this, the more you drop into what I call non-duality. Because what we are all living in now is really stark duality. And I know there are materials out there that talks about this. But what I want to go deeper into is that this duality is not like this is bad and this is good. I have clients who come in who often pick up the first lessons of duality where we will dive into, and then they would tell me, oh, I was on a high, I was having such a great time after our ceremony, and then boom, this thing happened and duality happened, and I have to carry both. And I would often say, but what if you can transcend duality? And oftentimes the question is, how do I transcend duality? Well, you transcend duality by embodying the knowing of non-duality, because that is ultimately who we are. We are not separate from the oneness consciousness of the unity consciousness. But in this density, we see everything as duality, because only in duality can you know what your expression of the divine is. Simply put, you can see light because there is darkness, there are shadows. Simply put, you can see what is good because there is bad. Because your mind can perceive that. Your mind is designed to do that. However, don't ever forget what you truly are. You are unity consciousness. You are non-duality. You are oneness, literally. And so when I was in the temples, I walked with this. I remember feeling into all of this as the monk was speaking to us. And I remember he looked me in the eye when I asked him, how do you embody stillness even in the moments when you're fighting, that you're in combat? And I remember he said, I don't have preference. I don't have preference. I don't have preference for the yin. I don't have preference for the yang. I am the center. I am. And the powerful thing is that I remember what I learned so deeply is that it may look like these techniques, they may look like so much structure, but we don't pick them up to fight. It's not about fighting. In fact, it's all about not fighting. And this is only something you get to understand when you experience it. Just like sitting in ceremony with tea, we as leaders of light, we have to be willing to walk with the mystery. Because if we are constantly controlling, even when we are working with our clients or whatever it is, your patient, whatever, even your children, I can give you an example. A mother coming to say, I love my child so much that I don't want to let them run out and do crazy things like climbing the tree. So I'm going to lock my child in the house, make sure it doesn't play, do obedient work. And I remember this was brought up in the temples, and I remember that the monk said, that is not love. And it's true. That is not unconditional love. You are trying to manipulate and you're trying to control how your child is going to act in the way you want the child to act. Yeah. So as leaders of light, we have to embrace alchemy in the mystery. What does that mean? That means, let's go back to the real truth and the real meaning of alchemy. Alchemy happens, what alchemy really means is that something new is birthed out of the old equation. It's not something you expected or think it's going to happen. It's something new that birthed out of the equation. The formula, the whatever you put in, the darkness, the cinnabar, all the little poison, like your past experiences, whatever it is, something new is birthed. So if there is any sense as an alchemist, a leader, a mentor, a guide, if there's any sense in you that you want to control, that you want to make sure to get the best result, you want to make sure to get the result in 3 months, you want to get this, do that, blah, 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 then that is not pure alchemy. That's not transformation. That's just reversion. And this is where we want to go as leaders. We want to be able to fully trust unwaveringly the mystery is going to yield something that is naturally true. Naturally, organically true. That true essence. We gotta trust. And we have to put away all the preconceived notions of what is good and what is bad. That is the middle path, right? So this is the middle path as an authentic self that I'm doing and I'm being every day. I tap into the field, the shimmering field, through tea ceremony, because that's where we go. We go into the subliminal places, and we cultivate a luxurious spaciousness so that you get to do that. You get to live as the sacred. You are the sacred. And it's time that we put away, put to rest all the lies that we tell ourselves. You know that. I don't have to pull that out for you. You know what it is that is not true. You know what are the lies that you've been telling yourself for a long time. I can't do this. That's not for me. If you are a visionary, you get to claim that. No preference to trust the result to be true this time. Yeah, not maybe. Fully yes. Absolute yes. And let that experience come in. Let everything you do be something you love to do and do it very well. Let who you are as you be that be fully unapologetically you. If you know you are royalty, you be that unapologetically. For example, I know the work that I do is very new. It's not very known. It's not something that I can say in one word and then people will be like, oh yeah, I totally know what that is. Right? And there would be moments when I remember, in the past couple of years as I do this as a full-on business, I would doubt, like, oh, maybe I should add a modality to this. Maybe I should add Reiki because everyone knows Reiki, blah, blah, blah. But now I stand in this knowing of what I'm here to do, what my purpose is, that I'm here to, I have this global vision of tea being a daily practice in a woman's life so that she can embody stillness wherever she goes. And I need to stand in that unwaveringly because that is who I am, that's my truth. So this is the most powerful thing you get to do. You get to claim. And this is me. I am the mystery, unapologetically. Everything you want, you know, I was saying the other day, like whether you want to build a multi-million empire, whether you want to really relish your success, whether you want to call in more love, more loving relationships, whatever, it all starts from stillness. Being able to be in stillness with yourself, being able to unapologetically own the spaciousness that you have, that you desire. If you don't have spaciousness right now in your life, make space for it. You can. Stop falling for the lies that say you can't. Because you are ultimately the creator of your reality. You absolutely can. And it gets to start the minute you decide. The minute you decide. Okay? Let's take a deep breath. Any questions, reflections you would desire to share, please drop that in before I close off today's session. I just want to thank you for staying on, for listening. Your truth is in my truth. You see your light in my light, and I'm always here to call you forth, to call you up, to call you forward, to call you into the infinite, the highest you are. And I can already see. Okay? Thank you, Selena. This is the truth of being multidimensional. I, you, we all can walk with the infinite power that we truly are in all spaces, all arenas. There's no more of saying, oh, they won't understand what I'm saying. They won't understand who I am, so I'm going to hide it. There's no more of that. No more of that. Doesn't mean you go out there and you spray all your stuff on them. We play that mystery game, yes. However, it's in your frequency where you do not hide. You walk in as that magnetic goddess that you are. You walk in with the presence of unapologetically you. And you watch them see you in a different light. You watch them see you as magic on legs because you are. Whether you are a master or an expert or a beginner, whether you're finding yourself starting all over again, you get to be that one, that person, the one who lives in ceremony. Because the one who lives in ceremony is the one who sees herself and lives as the sacred. You are leading the way for the next generation. This is how we change the world. A woman in power is a woman who is embodied in her magnetism. That is the power to create, by the way. Yeah. Whew. All right, beauties. I feel so complete. Thank you, all of you for sharing and being here. If you have any reflections after this session you'd like to share with me, feel free to message me. I'm so grateful for all of you. Any questions, please, you're very welcome to drop into my chat. I have some content here on Insight Timer as well that you can tap into. In all the places. Let's connect. Okay, my loves. Thank you, Mel. Thank you, Michelle. I love you all so much. Have a wonderful weekend. I hope this was something that really started to seed a light in you.